You walk through those heavy sliding glass doors of, any mega resort on the strip, and it just hits you instantly, like the sensory
It
overload.
was a lot. The flashing LEDs, the cocktail waitresses everywhere.
And those bells, right? They're always chiming in the key of C.
Right, to evoke that sense of pleasant euphoria. It's a very specific psychological design.
Exactly. It feels like this chaotic maze of pure, unadulterated luck. You just sit down, you pull a lever, and you basically cross your fingers, hoping the universe is just on your side today.
Which is frankly a masterclass in deception.
Mm-hmm.
Because that feeling of chaotic, unpredictable luck, it's entirely manufactured. I mean, behind every single flashing light and ringing bell on that floor is a cold, calculated, and honestly highly engineered mathematical landscape.
Okay, let's unpack this because we are absolutely stepping behind the curtain today. Welcome to the strategy room, everyone. Today's deep dive is pulling from a massive stack of insider files from the expose. Beat the house, insider, slot machine secrets exposed.
Yeah, this is the real Bellagio level intel.
100%. The mission today is simple. The casinos hold a mathematical edge, right? That is an undeniable fact. But today, we are extracting the exact data points, the floor scouting strategies, and the bankroll management techniques you need to operate like a seasoned sharp.
We're basically tearing down the illusion of the casino floor.
Yes, starting with the invisible engine that runs every single machine in the building. And that is the RTP.
Right, the return to player. I mean, this is the absolute foundational metric of the entire casino industry.
Okay, so break that down for us. What exactly is RTP?
So RTP is the built-in payback percentage that's literally programmed into the software of every machine. To the untrained tourist walking the floor, a slot cabinet looks like a game of chance.
Yeah.
But to a sharp player, it is a strict algorithmic math equation.
Because under the hood, they're not all the same.
Exactly. Under the hood, one machine might be set to an 85% payback, while another cabinet sitting right next to it could be set to 95%.
And like that 10% gap, it sounds really small on paper.
It does, yeah.
But in practice, that is literally the difference between sipping free drinks for 6 hours and just completely busting your bankroll before you even make it to your dinner reservations.
Oh, absolutely. But here's the thing. The casinos, they don't advertise these numbers.
Right. There's no neon sign that says, hey, this machine aggressively keeps 15% of all your money.
I wish there was. But no, you have to know how to spot the favorable RTP yourself. And the primary data point we pulled from these insider sources is what they call the denomination rule.
The denomination rule. So higher denomination machines inherently carry better payback percentages.
Yes. It's a structural reality of the casino's whole business model.
Yeah.
Like a classic $5 three-reel machine is mathematically vastly superior to one of those flashy interactive penny slots.
Which is wild because people think the penny slot is the cheap option.
Right, but the casino operates on absolute profit margin. They are perfectly happy taking a tiny, say 5% mathematical edge on a $5 spin, because the raw dollar amount they extract over time from that 5% is substantial. But on a 1 cent or 2 cent spin, to make that physical square footage on the floor profitable, they have to crank the house edge up to 12% or even 15%.
I look at this exactly like paying a massive hidden expense ratio on a mutual fund.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Right, because you sit down at a penny slot because it feels cheap. It feels like a safe way to preserve your bankroll. But the underlying math, that 12% house edge, is quietly acting like this predatory management fee. It's just eating your entire investment over a few hours without you ever realizing it.
Exactly. If you play a penny slot with an 88% RTP, mathematically, you are bleeding $12 for every 100 you cycle through the machine.
Wow.
But if you step up to a dollar slot at 95%, you're only bleeding $5 per 100.
What's fascinating here is how the casino leverages the player's own risk aversion against them.
Yes. By offering a product that feels low risk, they manage to extract the absolute highest margins on the entire floor. The penny slot player feels safe, but structurally, that machine is a buzzsaw. It's designed to grind their money down twice as fast as the high-limit machines.
Which brings up this wildly deceptive tactic the sources call the same game trap. Because, and I've seen people do this, players will occasionally try to hunt down specific games they've heard are loose.
Oh yeah, happens all the time.
So they walk onto the floor, they see two identical machines sitting side by side. Let's say it's an 88 Fortunes cabinet. It's got the same towering curved screen, the same graphics, exact same sound effects.
Yep.
The natural assumption is that they operate on the identical mathematical profile.
And they absolutely do not. Casinos will purchase the exact same physical cabinet from the manufacturer, but they'll order entirely different EEPROM chips.
Wait, EEPROM chips?
Yeah, they're the physical memory chips inside that dictate the math. They'll order different ones for each machine. They do this to capture different demographics of players.
That is so sneaky. So how do you protect yourself?
The only way to protect yourself from sitting at the tighter machine is to physically touch the screen, pull up the digital rules, and check the actual pay table. The mathematical payouts for specific simple combinations will literally be slightly lower on the tighter machine.
Okay, so checking the digital pay table protects you from the math inside the glass. But the sources make a really good point here. The math inside the glass is completely useless if you're sitting in the wrong zip code on the casino floor.
Oh, floor geography is everything.
Right. The layout of these mega resorts is not just some random collection of games, it is a weaponized maze. It's designed to control foot traffic and extract maximum value from impulsive behavior.
It's a science in itself. The machines placed near the main doors, the heavy walkways, the immediate entrances to the resort.
Let me guess, those are the tightest.
Universally the tightest machines in the building. They're loud, they're aggressive, and they are mathematically punishing. Their entire purpose is to capture the tourist who just walked in off Las Vegas Boulevard and, just wants to throw a $20 bill into a machine without thinking.
So to find the prime real estate, you really have to push deeper into the maze.
Yes, you have to go exploring.
And the sources point us to these very specific micro-locations, like machines placed right along the borders of high-limit areas, or machines adjacent to the table games, or even tucked away in the quieter corners.
Yeah, but my absolute favorite geographical pro tip from the former casino employees. It's targeting the machines located right near the player's club desk or the cashier's cage.
Okay, explain that, because that sounds counterintuitive. Why near the cage?
Because it is a brilliant piece of environmental marketing. When a player is standing in line at the cage to cash out, or they're waiting to sign up for a rewards card, the casino wants them surrounded by the auditory and visual cues of winning.
Oh, wow. So they hear the bells.
Exactly. They place higher paying machines in those specific sightlines. So the people waiting in line hear the bells ringing and see the credits rolling up. It actively encourages them to take the money they are about to cash out.
And put it right back into the ecosystem.
You got it. It's completely psychological.
Okay, but even when you locate this prime real estate near the cage, the insiders say you don't just sit down and start feeding bills into the validator. Sharp players employ this very specific three-step scouting method.
Right, you got to scout. Step one is observation. You just stand back and watch the zone for a few minutes.
What are you looking for?
You want to see if the players in that bank of machines are getting small, steady hits that keep their bankrolls afloat. Or, conversely, are they aggressively mashing the spin button, visibly frustrated because the machine is just eating $100 bills?
Right, looking for signs of life. And step two is the variance check. The insiders advise avoiding a machine that just dumped a massive jackpot or a huge, prolonged bonus round. You want to skip that machine and instead look for ones showing steady, medium action. And then step three is the micro test. You sit down and you do a strict $10 or $20 test run. If it burns through that cash in 10 spins without a single blip of life or a small payout, you walk away instantly.
Yes, no exceptions.
But wait, I need to stop you right there and push back on step two.
Okay, go for it.
This feels like a massive contradiction to the actual math of slot machines. Like, every single spin is determined by a random number generator, an RNG. The machine has no memory.
Right.
It doesn't know it just paid out a jackpot. So if every spin is an independent mathematical event, why does the strategy tell us to avoid a machine that just hit big? That sounds exactly like the gambler's fallacy, the false idea that a machine is suddenly due to go cold.
That is an incredibly important distinction to make.
Right.
And you are entirely correct that the RNG ensures every single spin is an independent event. The machine does not know it just paid out.
Right.
The odds of hitting the jackpot on the spin immediately following a jackpot are identical to the spin before it.
So why walk away?
The reason sharp players avoid that machine is not because it is magically cold, but because of what that jackpot tells you about the machine's structural volatility profile.
Oh, so it's about the DNA of the machine itself.
Precisely. Machines are programmed with a specific volatility index. A machine capable of dumping a massive sudden payout is, by definition, a highly volatile machine. It's designed for extreme peaks and incredibly deep bankroll-crushing valleys.
Ah, I see.
If your goal as a sharp player is to survive on the floor, farm loyalty comps, and grind out a profitable session, A high volatility machine is the exact opposite of what you want. By avoiding the machine that just hit the massive jackpot, you are actively opting out of that extreme volatility cycle.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, you're looking for a low volatility machine that pays out small, frequent hits, a machine showing signs of life with steady, medium action. It is a bankroll protection measure. It is not a prediction of the next spin.
Okay, so we are managing our exposure to extreme variance, not reading tea leaves.
Got it.
So we've scouted the right geographical zone, we're avoiding the impulse traps at the front doors, and we are managing variance.
Right.
The next major decision is picking your specific weapon of choice. And this dictates your true edge against the house. The sources present us with a tale of two absolute extremes: the grinder's choice versus the whale's dream.
Oh, the two ends of the spectrum.
Let's start with the grinder. When the casino employees actually clock out of their shifts, what are they sitting down to play?
Video poker, 100%. It is universally considered the undeniable smart play on the floor.
Why is that?
The fundamental difference between a slot cabinet and a video poker terminal is transparency. A slot machine hides its RTP deep in the software, right? You can guess at it based on denomination, but you never truly know the exact math.
It's a black box.
Exactly. But in video poker, the entire mathematical model is exposed right there on the glass. The pay table tells you exactly what the machine's edge is.
And the gold standard we are hunting for is the full pay 96 jacks or better machine, meaning the pay table offers 9 coins for a full house and 6 coins for a flush.
Yes, if you locate a 96 machine and you execute perfect mathematical basic strategy on every single draw, that machine returns 99.5%.
Yeah.
You're basically playing at a virtual dead heat with the house.
Which is incredible for a casino game.
But, and there's always a but, the casino relies on players not paying attention to the math. So they will physically place an 85 machine, which only pays 8 coins for a full house and 5 for a flush, directly adjacent to the 96 machine.
Let's run the actual math on why that single coin difference is so devastating, because it sounds like nothing.
It really does.
But let's say you're playing max credits, $5 a hand, and you hit a full house on a 96 machine. You win 45 coins.
Right.
On the 85 machine, that same full house only pays 40 coins. You are losing 5 coins or $25 every single time you hit a relatively common premium hand.
And it adds up so fast. If you're playing 600 hands an hour, that tiny pay table shift just bleeds your bankroll dry. It drops your RTP from 99.5% down to around 97%. It transforms a highly strategic break-even game into a steady drain on your wallet. This raises an important question for the player, sitting at the casino bar trying to decide their strategy for the night. What is your actual goal?
Right.
Do you want the rigorous, highly strategic grind of a 99% return on video poker where your decisions directly impact the math? Or are you willing to sacrifice that low variance for a shot at life-changing money?
Because that brings us to the exact opposite end of the spectrum. Progressive slots.
The whale's dream.
Megabucks, Wheel of Fortune, the towering games with the massive multi-million-dollar digital numbers constantly ticking upward. But to understand progressives, you really have to understand how that massive jackpot is funded.
Yeah, the casino isn't just magically generating that prize pool out of the goodness of their hearts. They're cannibalizing the base game.
Exactly. Every time you hit the spin button, the machine takes a fraction of your bet and shunts it directly into the networked jackpot pool. Because of that, the base game pays out significantly less often than a standalone machine.
Progressives are the ultimate high variance play. You are accepting a brutal mathematical grind on the base game for a literal lottery ticket chance at the top prize.
So what's the insider strategy for these?
It dictates 2 non-negotiable rules. First, you only approach these machines when the jackpot has grown large enough to create what mathematicians call a positive expectation.
Meaning,
If a jackpot that historically hits at, say, $500,000 is currently sitting at $2 million, the math is temporarily shifted to justify playing the brutal base game.
okay, but the second rule is the absolute law of the floor. If you are going to play a progressive, you must, without exception, bet the max bet.
Yes, do not even sit down if you aren't playing the max.
Because if you hit the precise jackpot symbol combination, but you only played 1 credit instead of the maximum allowed, you are completely ineligible for the grand prize.
The machine will just give you a minor consolation payout, and that multi-million-dollar jackpot will remain locked.
It is arguably the most devastating psychological event that can happen to a player inside a casino. It is the equivalent of buying a lottery ticket, picking the winning numbers, but intentionally scratching off the final number with a coin so you can never actually claim the grand prize.
It's tragic. Why would anyone willingly do that?
Exactly. If your bankroll cannot sustain the max bet on a progressive machine, you simply walk away and find a different game, period.
And, that concept of bet sizing applies to standard multi-line video slots as well. The insider rule is to always cover every single pay line on the screen.
Right.
If covering 50 lines strains your budget, the correct move is to lower the denomination of your coin, not the number of lines. Betting 50 cents spread across all 50 lines is mathematically vastly superior to betting $2 on just 10 lines.
Because there is nothing worse than watching the jackpot symbols line up perfectly on line 28 when you only paid to activate lines 1 through 20. You're effectively paying for the volatility without giving yourself access to the payout.
The worst feeling.
So, all right, we have the math. We understand the physical geography of the floor. We know the 96 pay tables and the progressive max bet rules.
But this is huge, but all of that theoretical knowledge completely collapses if you fail at the operational execution of your night.
Bankroll management and comp optimization.
Exactly. You can sit at a mathematically perfect video poker terminal, but if you lack discipline, the house edge will eventually grind you down to zero.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the sharp players, they don't view their bankroll as this fluid, endless pool of cash. They treat it with surgical precision. They treat it like a show ticket, an entertainment expense with a hard stop.
Right.
If you walk into the Bellagio with a $200 bankroll, you absolutely do not slide $200 into the bill validator. You fracture it into strict, isolated sessions, say 4 distinct $50 sessions.
It creates a psychological firewall. You take that first $50 and you begin your session. Let's say you hit a strong cycle of variance, and that $50 swells to $120.
Which feels great.
Oh, it feels amazing. But the amateur player, riding that adrenaline spike, they keep playing until the machine eventually goes cold and takes it all back, the sharp player. They physically stop. They pocket their original $50 investment immediately. It goes right back in the wallet, untouched for the rest of the night.
Because you are now playing purely with the $70 of profit. You have essentially locked in a free, riskless session.
Exactly.
And while you are ruthlessly managing your cash like that, you have to be equally aggressive about extracting secondary value from the casino's ecosystem. And that means the player's card.
Oh, the ex-employees are adamant about this.
Never initiate a single spin without your loyalty card inserted into the machine.
Playing without a card is literally donating invisible equity back to the casino. But the secret to maximizing that card isn't just about how much money you bet. It is about how the casino's internal algorithm calculates your value.
Right, the system measures theoretical loss, or theo.
Yes, and the biggest driver of theo is time on device.
Pacing is everything. The algorithm heavily favors consistency over wild, sporadic betting. If you sit at a machine betting a steady $25 an hour and you stay there for 4 solid hours, the casino values you tremendously.
They will comp your meals, they'll send you free play offers, they'll upgrade your room.
Because they value that steady engagement far more than the player who walks in, aggressively drops $100 in 8 minutes, and walks out the door. They want you anchored in the building.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you really start to see how every single decision, from pacing your bets to checking the RTP, is about reclaiming small fractions of control. And the insiders offered a few rapid-fire operational tactics to maintain that control. First, whenever a casino installs a brand new cabinet, they often configure it with a slightly looser RTP during the initial rollout.
Oh, to generate floor buzz and attract a crowd?
Exactly. They want people winning on the new game so it gets popular.
And the inverse of that is equally true, and this is probably my favorite secret from the entire stack of files. Avoid the celebrity or movie-themed slot machines at all costs.
Oh, the licensing fees. The licensing fees dictate the math.
Yes, if you sit down at a machine featuring a famous pop star's face or, playing an iconic cinematic soundtrack, the casino had to write a massive intellectual property check to secure those rights.
Millions of dollars sometimes.
Right. The manufacturer charges a premium for that cabinet. So how does the casino recoup that exorbitant IP cost? They tighten the RTP of the machine. The game fundamentally has to pay out less to the player in order to cover the Hollywood royalty check.
Which perfectly illustrates the core philosophy of the sharp player. Your only true leverage in a casino is game selection, bet sizing, and knowing precisely when to break the psychological trance and walk away.
Yeah.
Setting a 45-minute timer on your phone to force yourself to stand up, drinking water to maintain sharp judgment. These aren't just health tips, they are strategic bankroll defenses.
So what does this all mean for you? We've essentially reconstructed the casino floor from a room of chaotic luck into a highly structured chessboard.
That's exactly what it is.
We know to check the RTP by hunting for higher denominations and physically verifying the pay tables on the glass. We know to avoid the flashy impulse traps at the front doors and scout the maze for the prime real estate near the cages and high-limit borders.
We know to select our weapon, carefully seeking out that 96 video poker for the mathematical grind, or committing entirely to the max bet if we choose to embrace the extreme variance of the progressives.
And we know to manage our bankrolls in strict, isolated sessions, pocketing our initial investments the exact second we hit a profit, all while letting the player's card passively farm our comps through steady time on device.
It really completely shatters the illusion, doesn't it?
It does. But I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, one that stretches far beyond the Las Vegas city limits.
Okay.
Now that you understand exactly how meticulously these casinos engineer their mathematical landscapes, how they weaponize floor layouts, how they use variable rewards to hijack your dopamine, and how they manipulate loyalty systems to keep you anchored in your seat, take a look at the digital world you interact with every single day.
Oh, that is a great point.
Look at the infinite scroll of your social media feeds. Look at the push notifications designed to pull you back into an app. Look at the gamified loyalty trackers at your favorite coffee shop. Where else in your daily life are you sitting inside a carefully designed, invisible casino? And, more importantly, how can you start checking the pay tables of those digital ecosystems to ensure you aren't the one being played?